I'm Haley B. Miller, and this is Ohio Politics Explained, a podcast where you give us 15 minutes and we give you all the news you need to sound smart and impress your friends. Welcome back to Ohio Politics Explained. Today, we'll dig into how the Iran war is affecting the U.S. Senate race, backlash over an anti-Sherrod Brown ad, and where Amy Acton stands on key policing issues. Almost 2 months until the November election, folks. Joining me today is Anthony Shoemaker.
Hi, Haley. We're deep in election season now, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Let's start with Iran. We're 6 months into the conflict started by President Donald Trump, and it shows no signs of stopping. Trump recently traded military strikes for economic sanctions, so the fighting is less visible, at least for now. But it could still be a headache for Senator John Husted in November, especially if gas prices stay high.
Yeah, I mean, affordability is the big issue in the election. We've heard it over and over again. And one of the big places people are feeling it is at the gas pump. I mean, people aren't necessarily, according to the polls, thinking of the Iran war as a huge issue for the election, but the political impact of it is.
Yeah, I think there have been some comparisons, or at least some thinking about Iraq that this has inspired because Trump campaigned on ending, quote, forever wars, with Iraq being a prime example of that. And this is, of course, another conflict in the Middle East. But I think it's not as front of mind for a lot of people as Iraq was back when Brown was actually running in a different race against then U.S. Senator Mike DeWine, because, we had boots on the ground in Iraq. It was very visible at that point. There were a lot of discussions about botched intelligence. So both in the Middle East, but two very different.
Yeah, I mean, the Iraq war, we had to hire casualties, boots on the ground. The daily images of it were just different, whereas the Iran war is more kind of a back and forth over the Strait of Hormuz, and, there aren't boots on the ground, so it's just a different kind of conflict.
Yeah, and I think that's why Sherrod Brown is really hitting Husted on the economic aspect of this. He launched an ad recently criticizing Husted's votes over the Iran war and specifically linked it to gas prices. Obviously, there is still conflict over the Strait of Hormuz and who has control over that. And that's a big passageway for the world's oil, which is why we're seeing gas prices go up so much. And you really see Brown talking a lot more about that and less about foreign policy strategy or what this means on a global scale.
Right. I mean, early voting starts in, about 6 weeks. And, people often vote by how they're feeling with their family budget, their pocketbook, and high gas prices is a huge issue that families are dealing with. So I think what we're seeing are Democrats are going after Republicans for high gas prices and affordability and data centers and topics like that, which has been big in the Senate race too, while Republicans are going after Democrats on immigration and crime and, all the kind of socialist talk and stuff like that. And that seems to be the way both sides are going this year.
Yeah, I talked to someone for my story on this who said that for Republicans like Husted, you want to try to change the conversation away from inflation, Iran, things that could be potential liabilities, which is why you see Husted putting out a bunch of ads, like you said, about immigration. There's also an ad out there that is touting Husted's record on helping survivors of human trafficking. So just, again, anything that's not about the economy.
Yeah.
Pivoting to more Senate race news. A few weeks ago, the NRSC dropped an ad attacking Brown on immigration that highlights the deaths of a Central Ohio family. The husband, wife, and 1-year-old died last spring after a truck driver who immigrated from Africa allegedly caused a multi-vehicle wreck. And the family members are not happy about this ad.
Right. I mean, it's a tragic incident, to lose 3 members of a family and just an awful way. But to spin it around and be like, this truck driver who is an American citizen, he's lived here for 20 years, did immigrate from Mauritania or so, I believe, it is just the family's not happy about this, and seeing their family's image used without their permission is a big part of that too.
Right. The ad includes footage of the accident. It includes a photo of the family that was taken by a family friend. So they're just really frustrated, want to see it taken down. At this point, the NRSC has replaced it on TV with a new ad. There's sort of a new ad cycle that's been launched, but the ad featuring this family is still on YouTube and has a lot of views.
Yeah, and sometimes families want to get their message out and take a tragedy and use it politically to maybe make a change or something, but that's not what happened here. This was kind of done without the family's knowledge and without their permission.
Right. And this case had already gotten some attention from Republicans in Ohio before now. State officials alleged that the defendant in this case improperly obtained his U.S. citizenship under an alternate identity. They think that may have been fraudulent, and so they referred this case to Immigrations and Customs Enforcement for further investigation. I don't think that's been resolved at this point, but it got the attention of Senator Bernie Moreno, for instance, and so I think that's where the immigration piece of this comes into play. But there was an analysis done by factcheck.org that, looked at everything and found that Brown's past votes on immigration really are not directly related to this case.
Right. And Haley, as you know, facts don't always matter in political ads, and the NSRC is going to continue to put out ads about immigration because that is a key topic with the base, and they want to make sure that the base turns out. This is also the first time Senator Houston's been on the ballot running for the U.S. Senate. So, I mean, it's a topic that resonates with Republican voters.
For sure. Our last topic today is law enforcement, specifically where Amy Acton lands on big issues. She won the endorsement of a policing group this week and fielded questions about qualified immunity, flock cameras, and immigration enforcement. What did we learn?
Well, I mean, this is interesting. I mean, Amy Acton came out saying she opposes ending qualified immunity. She was getting the endorsement from the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, and that's a big issue for them. She was also asked about flock cameras. She did not specifically answer the question about flock cameras, but said that she supports using technology to fight crime. And then the other thing she talked about was, and this kind of sets her apart from other Democrats running across the country, is she said that, Ohio law enforcement agencies have to work with ICE and federal officials. That's just part of the game. And it'll be interesting to see how that is received by some of the Democratic base voters.
Yeah, it's been interesting to watch because I think not only with law enforcement, but with other issues, we've seen Acton come out with more moderate stances. We've seen other Democrats in past races use this strategy because Ohio is a red state. I think there's some belief among Democratic strategists that you can't run too progressive of a campaign or you'll alienate independents, things like that. So it'll be interesting to see if this works out for her, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the race is close, so, you can't really afford to lose any base support. So crime and working with ICE is a big issue with Democratic base voters that could, turn against her a bit over an issue like this.
Right. And people are also very unhappy with flock cameras.
Flock cameras and data centers are not the most popular things on either side right now, it seems.
For sure. And one more thing before you go. As I'm sure you know by now, we lost the legendary Dolly Parton this week, and you can count Governor Mike DeWine and First Lady Fran DeWine among those in mourning. The DeWines were vocal champions of the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. Fran DeWine said Dolly's, quote, generosity and selfless spirit leave a legacy that will live on for generations to come. R.I.P.